Without these rules and regulations, not just in college football, not just in college athletics, but in life, it's total anarchy. You got guys like Jaden Rashada and multiple college football players out there that are leaving at any minor inconvenience. And I'm talking about a minor inconvenience. And the immediate question I asked myself when I saw this, is this what we want college football, but more importantly, the transfer portal to be? And I'm asking you guys, let me know in the comment section, is this what you want? So the transfer portal opened up a few days ago, and I'm not going to lie to y'all, it's already been way more interesting than I originally thought it was going to be. And maybe that's on me. Maybe I was being naive to think that there's not going to be a lot of notable names and a lot of players in general enter the portal, but I just didn't see it coming. And the reason for that is because when do we normally see all these players enter the portal, like a max exodus, right after the season ends? Entering the transfer portal in the spring is really questionable to me because it raises this question. What went wrong in the past couple of months? Reverting back to this, whenever players enter the portal right after the season in January, February, whenever exactly it opens, I can't remember, why do they leave? Because for those 6 months all throughout the season, they weren't happy. They want a new place to play. And that makes total and complete sense. You went through the entire season, you either didn't get a lot of playing time, you didn't like the coaching staff, you didn't like the teammates, something went wrong, and I can understand that. However, when you enter the spring transfer portal, you really don't have those excuses, because although you may not be the first team running back or quarterback or wide receiver, offensive tackle, etc., you're not playing in any games whatsoever, and you could win over that starting job in the next 4 or 5 months. You never know. And I just thought about this. There's nothing even to be too discontent about, because you just started up spring ball and spring practice. I think at the point I'm trying to get across here, it's odd to see a player enter the portal in spring. Moving along here though, this came across my desk late last night and I don't like it. And the immediate question I asked myself when I saw this, is this what we want college football, but more importantly, the transfer portal to be? And I'm asking you guys, let me know in the comment section, is this what you want? For those of you that didn't hear the news, former 5-star quarterback Jaden Rashada, he's entered the portal. And within the past 2 years alone, take a look at his track history. June 2022, commits to Miami. November 2022, decommits from Miami, flips to Florida. December 2022, signs letter of intent with Florida. January 2023, only a month later, decommits from Florida. They had that whole controversy with the NIL department. Apparently, they were supposed to give him, what was it, like $8 or $10 million. That deal fell through. He winds up committing to Arizona State in February 2023. Here we are. He's in the portal. I'm going to remind some of you, last year before he suffered an injury and he missed, I believe, was it 8 or 9 games? He did start a couple early on, and he came back for the Arizona game. As where it stands today, I'm not too familiar with Arizona State's quarterback situation, but I'm going to assume if he wasn't going to be the starter, he was at least in the mix for it, wasn't he? So here's what I'm getting at with this, and I'm not so much singling out Jaden Rashada here. He's just the example I'm going to use, and it's what brought up this topic to my mind. In the modern era of college football in 2024, you got guys like Jaden Rashada and multiple college football players out there that are leaving at any minor inconvenience. And I'm talking about a minor inconvenience. This isn't something like he got into it with the coaching staff or he's permanently going to be the backup quarterback and he's not going to play. No, it's none of that. This is simply, oh, well, things didn't go my way. I'm leaving. I'm out. And I know I've said this thousands of times, but I got to say it when I talk about the transfer portal to give you some context. And plus, we got new people coming to the channel every single day. I like the portal. I like the NFL. I'm not NFL, my bad. The NIL. I'm for all those things. Because here's the vibes I'm getting from this, right? He goes to Florida, or he was going to go to Florida. The NIL deal, it fell through. I'm not going to get into all that. That's a different conversation for a different day. The point is, he was supposed to go to Florida, and they didn't pay him the money, so he said, all right, bet. If you're not going to pay me to come here, I'm leaving. My point is, in bringing that up, is he didn't leave because things weren't working out at Florida for football. He left because of financial gain. Fast forward in time here, the vibes I'm getting from him leaving Arizona State is it's not that things aren't going kosher at Arizona State. It's not that things are going bad. I think him and his family, they're looking at it from a perspective of why not enter the portal? Why not test out the waters? They're thinking of it like, oh yeah, well things are all right at Arizona State, but if we put our name in the portal or his name in the portal, who knows, somebody might throw us a $500,000 deal. To me, I think guys like Jaden Rashada, yet again, he is not the only one that thinks this way. It's money then football. There's a lot of players out there that are putting themselves first, or the money first, and then the program, then their athletic career. Unfortunately, and as sad as this is, we're losing the pride of college football and what it means to be a college football player for a university. Let me ask you a question. Do you honestly believe Jaden Rashada gives even two craps about the University of Florida or Arizona State? Heck to the no. I'll just answer the question for you. No. There's no sense of pride anymore with these athletes. They don't care to represent a university. They just want to represent themselves. I think it's sad because there's a lot of guys on the Arizona football team. I'd say 90 to 95% of them, they enjoy and they relish opportunity to represent the university. However, the other 3 to 5% of the guys that are playing college football all across the country, they don't care about the university. It's all about the money. It's all about NIL, transfer portal, etc., etc. Let's take a look at this comment from Stardust on the recent video. Student athletes should benefit from NIL and transfer portal opportunities in all caps, but we need rules and regulations because it's creating chaos, and I agree. If you take money from a school, you should be required to play for that school for at least one season or return the money when you transfer. I feel like kids are using certain schools for clout and self-promotion, biding their time until they land the bag. What do I think about that? A-Train said, I simply think that players just don't want to compete anymore. They get beat out in practice and take their 5-star status to the portal to hopefully instantly start somewhere else. There's many more comments I can read off, but I think we're all in the same boat on this. Yes, I think every single one of you watching this video, to a certain extent, more than others, you are in favor of the transfer portal and NIL. And if some of you are opposed to NIL, I know most people out here, 99% of you, you're not opposed to the transfer portal. But, and I have a really big but, you better believe this, I think the one problem that we can all agree on is we need rules and regulations to go along with that. Without these rules and regulations, not just in college football, not just in college athletics, but in life, it's total anarchy. And that's what we're having. Heck, this is the most blasphemous one out of them all. You had Alabama starting offensive tackle Jaden Proctor after the not the championship, but the semifinal game against Michigan. He enters the transfer portal. He leaves when Nick Saban retires. He goes to Iowa. And then a couple months later, what does he do? He enters the portal. He's like, oh, no, I made a mistake. I want to go back to Alabama. I'm sorry. You had a guy transfer away from Alabama. It's not like he drove up to Iowa and the next day was like, oh, no, I made a mistake. He was there for a month or two, and then he decided he wanted to go back to Alabama. That's not what the portal was designed to be. I hate it that you, Jaden Proctor, you made a mistake. You realized, okay, I shouldn't have left Alabama, but you made your bed and you got to lay in it. We got to have repercussions. It's the same thing with Henry Ruggs. I knew Henry Ruggs growing up. We grew up in the same area. Is he a bad guy? Absolutely not. Everybody that met Henry Ruggs, they would tell you the same thing. He's a good guy, just made a terrible mistake. However, you can't just look past a mistake. He's got to do the punishment for it. There's got to be repercussions. And I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's the same principle. So what I'm thinking right now is, and this isn't a solution video, but since we're talking about it and I'm thinking about it, is you get your one free transfer, and then after that, there's got to be some stipulations. But I don't know, man, because even thinking about it right now, it's complicated because it's not quite as simple as that, and there's so many rules you got to implicate. And hey, maybe that's why we don't have any rules, because it is such a hard process for the NCAA to track and handle. I don't know what we're going to do, but here's what I do know. It's crazy, and we'll leave it at that. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts on all that down below, but roll a minute.